All right, so now getting into the topic that we're all here for. I assume you all joined this presentation because there's some part of you that's interested in studying art. So what we're going to do is address what it means to study art in the US and what types of schools are available to you. And then, of course, we'll get into the portfolio section, which is about how you actually apply to an art school. Could I get the next slide, please? So one of the first things I want to talk about when it comes to types of art school is accreditation. It might not be the most glamorous or the most exciting place to start, but it is very important. When it comes to schools in the United States, there are two different types of accreditation that are offered. And what accreditation really means is that there's an official body that has looked at the curriculum, looked at the education provided by the school, and said that, yes, this counts for this type of degree. This is a, well put together education. And so in the United States, there are two different types of accreditation. There are regional accreditations. So within a small area, there's an accrediting body. For example, California College of the Arts is in the Western United States. So we're accredited by the Western Regional Accreditation. There are lots of these different types of accreditations. And these aren't just for art school. These are for all kinds of schools in that region. So that's one type of accreditation. But we're also all here representing different art schools. And so in addition to our standard regional accreditations that we all have, we're also all accredited by NASAD, which is the National Association for Schools of Art and Design. So if you're looking to study art in the United States, it's always a good idea to check the accreditation of this school and see that it is a NASAD accredited school. There are also special accreditations for architecture and interior design if you're interested in those. But the real reason this is important is in case you want to transfer your credits somewhere else or pursue a graduate education. Once you've attended an accredited school, you can be guaranteed that that school will be recognized by any other accredited schools. So if you want to go somewhere for your undergraduate degree and then go on to graduate school, having attended an accredited school is really important. So with that being said, there are a couple of different places where you can study art within accredited schools in the US. One of those is traditional art schools. That's what all four of us are, what we're representing here today. This is typically what people think when they say art school. They mean schools that focus on studio art, that have an arts-focused curriculum, and where that is the bulk of the program. There are also other schools that focus on art, but more like a portfolio prep school or a boot camp, maybe something that focuses on a very specific industry and giving you the skills and techniques for that industry, but not at a fully accredited degree granting level. So depending on what your career goals are, you might want the full degree, the full 4 years of a traditional art school, or you might be looking at a smaller program that is a boot camp or an atelier school, something kind of specific. And then there are also art colleges within larger universities. So in the United States, there's lots of large, public universities that have a smaller art division within it. It's like a mini art school within a big, large institution. And then you can also study a degree in art at another school, at a larger research institute, at a public university. So there's a lot of different ways to study art in the US. And what we're really going to be talking about is, that traditional art school education model. So within those art schools, I want to dive a little bit more deeply into what those mean. So you have the 4-year art school. So that's really what, the focus is on studio art. So, 60%, 70% of the curriculum that you take will actually be hands-on art making. And then the other 30 or 40% will be humanities and sciences. If you do choose to attend a larger university, a larger school with an art department or an art degree, you're much likely going to spend a lot of time studying things outside of the area of art. And probably your peers, your fellow students will be from all sorts of different backgrounds. Versus if you come to art school, all of your peers, all of your professors will be artists. And then the vocational schools, that kind of ties into the boot camps that I was talking about on the last slide. They often focus on a skill, but be careful if you are looking at them. Many of these programs are not accredited. So if you attend a vocational school, a technical school, you may not be able to transfer those credits or follow it up with a graduate education. And there are some wonderful programs, but they do vary greatly in quality. So if that's a pathway you decide to follow, definitely consult with your EdUSA advisors and make sure to get really thoughtful advice. And then I'll turn it over to Kenny to talk about degrees.
Great. So there are Bachelor of Fine Arts or the Bachelor of Arts degree. So what are the differences? A Bachelor of Fine Arts degree really indicates a studio art-based program, where a Bachelor of Arts or BA degree indicates more theory and liberal arts. A BA is usually considered more general, where a BFA is usually considered a more specialized area, professional qualification required. So typically a BFA program will have 2/3 of your coursework is making art and design and is studio practice, where 1/3 of the coursework is academic, art history, writing, philosophy, and other humanities. So the BFA will have more of a ratio focused on your studio practice. The different types of majors that you can study is, there's a wide range. And that's why it's really important for you to really do the research, look at different schools and see what they offer. I mean, there's a lot of different majors out there, from animation to fashion design to industrial design, interaction design, printmaking, sculpture, creative writing, transportation design. So a lot of schools have different offerings. So, figuring out what you want to do as a career and what field and industries you want to have a career in, looking at each individual school to see what is offered is really important to help kind of create that list of schools that you might be interested in applying to.
All right, so a little bit about the curriculum in art school. So definitely the curriculum varies depending on the art school. So you're going to want to do your research in terms of really excavating and discovering what the curriculum's around. In art schools in general, there are 3 buckets or 3 approaches to curriculum. So there's one that's focused on technical programs. So these are art schools that you are applying directly into your major. So you know what you want to do. You want to be an animator, you want to be a filmmaker, you want to be a fashion designer. You know 100%. You apply directly into that major and you start the program your very first year. There are other curriculums that are concept-based programs. So majors are flexible. Students' interests, can shape the course of their studies. So it's a mix of interdisciplinary. And then there's concept or technique. So schools developed a craft and push conceptual thinking. So oftentimes these schools have a first-year foundation program. So like in the cases of both SAIC and MICA, we both have foundation programs. So students are really encouraged to understand the equipment that they have. They're exposed to both making and conceptual development, critique, things like that your first year. So those are programs where maybe you're not sure what you want to do, but you want to really explore different mediums. So it allows you that first year to really kind of get your hands dirty, if you will, and kind of discover all of your options.